Hey guys, thanks for joining me. This is Angie at Chicken Scratch. This is what we're making today. Isn't it so cute? Okay, you open it up just like this. The lid comes right off, and this will hold some tea light candles. I got these at IKEA. They smell so good. Okay, so let me show you the supplies. We have 2 pieces of crumb cake cardstock that measure 6 1/4 by 4 3/4, and you want to make sure that they both measure the exact same thing. So use the same trimmer to cut these. It's important that they're not off by a 1/16 of an inch, because that will make all the difference in whether the lid will fit on there nice or whether it will be too loose or too tight. Okay, so again, 6 1/4 by 4 3/4, and then I have 2 pieces of crumb cake that measure 3 1/4 by 4 1/2, and that's going to be for this part right here. I have some Whisper White for stamping. I have extra in case I mess up. Another piece of Whisper White is 3 1/4 by 4 1/2 to cut out this stitched rectangle, and then some real red. We're going to be using the die cut machine a lot today, okay? Okay, so we're going to start with the box, and we're going to be using the paper trimmer. Okay, so we're going to start with the lid, okay? So we're going to score this at 11/16 on all 4 sides. And so 11/16 is the teeny tiny mark before the 3/4, okay? So here's the 1 inch, here's 3/4, and then this small mark right here, that's 11/16, okay? And if it's easier for you over here on this side, which it is for me, so I'm going to be using this side. Okay, so again, I'm going to identify that this is the 3/4, so 11/16. And I want to make sure that I use my scoring blade and not my cutting blade, okay? 11/16. 11. 11. And 11. Okay, so that's the lid. Now for the bottom, we're going to score it at 3/4 of an inch, okay? And here's what I like to do. I like to actually write with a pencil that this is the bottom. So I'm just going to write a B right inside there. Okay, so we're going to take the lid. This is the bottom of our box. This is the top of the box. And we're going to place it in the Stone 3D embossing folder. And it goes just like that. It doesn't fit exactly. It's okay. And then the Big Shot platform. And this time we're using this 3D embossing folder plate. It's blue. You can't mistake it for any other. Okay, now we're going to fold on those score lines and burnish with our bone folder. We're going to do the same thing for the bottom of the box. Okay, the bottom and the top are going to assemble exactly the same, okay? So I'm going to cut up to the score line and remove a little to the left and a little to the right on all 4 corners, okay? lay that aside. Now we're going to do the top. Okay. And then I'm going to trim. Okay, so I'm going to take my liquid glue and we're going to add it to all 4 tabs. Okay, so I'm just going to start with this one. Okay, I got a little too much on that, but it does dry clear, so I'm just going to hold it for a second. I may fast forward through the rest of these just so we can get it done. We have a lot left to do on this project, so we're going to be here a while. Okay, so the lid is going to go on just like that. Okay, so it's a pretty good fit. Okay, so now that that's done, we're going to take our sponge and we're going to sponge on some crumb cake ink. You can skip this step if you want to. I just kind of felt like this was a project that called for a little bit of sponging. Okay, so now let's stamp. We are using photopolymer images, so I'm going to use my Stampin' Mat here. We're going to start with the raccoon. And he's just going to go right there. And then we've got, I'm assuming this is a mouse or a rat, not sure. Mouse, it's a mouse, right? And then we have the squirrel. And we have the greeting. I'm using the light and dark crumb cake Stampin' Blend markers, the light Pool Party, the light Granny Apple Green, and the light Smoky Slate. Now we're not using all of these now, we're using some of them. So I'm going to start with the Smoky Slate, and I'm just going to give this raccoon some color. Quick and dirty coloring, right? Yeah, that's pretty good. And then I'm going to take the dark crumb cake and color the squirrel. I'm going to come in with the light and just fill in the areas that I missed. And now the mouse is getting the light crumb cake. We're going to be using these other 2 colors in a few minutes. Let's go ahead and cut out these pieces. So I am using the Special Day dies. They're right here. They coordinate with this stamp set. While supplies last. I'm going to tell you, they're probably going to sell out. They're so stinking cute. Anyway, February 4th, they'll be available. The stamp set's available now. So all of these dies are in that set. So we're going to be using this one for the greeting. And then, of course, we have all of these pieces. Now, for this piece right here, we're using the Stitch So Sweetly dies. So I'm going to be cutting that out. And then, instead of explaining all this, I'm just going to go ahead and get the machine. How about that? Okay? So let me get all of this out of the way, and we will get the machine. Okay, so we're going to start with the raccoon. Okay, so now we're going to take this piece and we are going to lay that on there and then lay this one inside there. Okay, so we have this frame. And now we're going to cut one more of the large one. And then we need the smaller white one size down. Okay, now we're going to cut out that rectangle. Let's move these over. And then we only need one heart, so I'm just going to lay that there, okay? Okay, so now we've got all of our pieces, and we just need a couple of these hearts. So let's see. Let me get my Take Your Pick tool. We actually only need one. I just was looking for the one that I wanted. Okay, so now this piece right here, we're going to take the tailored tag punch, but you can see that's too long, right? So what you need is a Post-it note, and I've got that here. And I'm going to actually place it right about where I want to cut it, okay? See? Looks pretty good. Okay, so there's that part. Okay, so let's take a piece of grid paper. This is the Stamparatus grid paper. It's nice and small. I'm going to use the Whisper White scallop rectangle. I'm going to position these where I want them. And that looks pretty good. The greeting's going to go up here. So I'm going to take my Pool Party marker. I'm going to use the brush tip, and I'm just going to brush some ink on. I'm going to move them out of the way because I know where to stop. It's not cooperating with me today. I think that looks pretty good, right? And then now on the bottom, I'm going to take my Granny Apple Green and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to brush on some ink. Now these dies actually come with a grass die, but it didn't, for me, it didn't really match the scallops, so I didn't use those. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is attach that like that. Now, it's inside there. I know, so you're like, well, wait a second. You could just put that on top of there. I could, but look, if I do it that way, well, it just looks different. So take my word for it, okay? So look, that's how it looks there. But then when you place it inside, it just has a different look to it. So what I'm going to do is take my liquid glue. It's like it gives it another dimension, if that makes sense. Okay, so I'm just adding a little bit of liquid glue. Placing it over top of this one. And because I used the liquid glue, I can still slide it into place if I didn't get the scallops lined up. Okay, so there's that. Okay, so let's turn this over and add some liquid glue to it. And slide that in there. Okay, see? Now we're going to take this guy and pop him up. So I'm going to use 2 dimensionals on him. And he kind of goes in the middle. I say kinda. He goes in the middle. And then this dude gets a mini dimensional. Because he's mini. He's mini size, right? And then the squirrel goes over here with the regular dimensional. Sorry, my devices are making noises today. I forgot to mute them. Okay, so cute, right? This is just going to get attached with liquid glue. So I'm just going to add a little bit there. I am going to post a different version of this box. It's the same size and everything. It's just using a completely different stamps, ink, and paper. I probably will not refilm the video. So you might want to hop over to my website in the next few days. Okay. So now this one's going to get added. Well, let's go ahead and add this layer to the box. So let's get our box back over here. Okay. So we're going to pop it up. So we're going to add dimensionals on all 4 corners and 1 in the middle. Okay, like that. Now, you can sponge the edge or not. That was with crumb cake ink. Okay, so take the backing off of the dimensionals. I posted on Facebook that I worked on this box for 5 hours. Oh. Okay, now this is going to get popped up with a dimensional. So we just want to make sure that we put it on the correct side. Now we want to add a heart. So I'm going to use my Take Your Pick tool. I'm running out of putty, so I need to get my new one. So it's going to go like that. And you can pop it up. Let's see, what did I do? I used a glue dot, so it popped it up just a tad. So I'm going to use my Take Your Pick tool and wad the glue dot up and then put it on the back of that heart. and then place it right there. Ideally, you'd probably do this before you put the lid on your box. So I'm going to take 2 pieces of the linen thread, and I just called it baker's twine a couple minutes ago, but it is linen thread. Sorry, the neighbor's dog is out. It sees my lights, and he doesn't like them. Maybe y'all can't hear him. Okay, let's see what size we want this. I think we kind of want it pretty small, so I'm going to trim this again. And then it's going to get added right about there. Okay, so I'm just going to pick up a glue dot. Squish it, and then pick it up, and then add it right about there. Okay, so here's my original that has the candles inside of it, and this is the one we just made. The only difference is that this piece is just a tad bit longer than this one. So, yeah, but they both look cute. I just need to trim these threads a little bit more. Okay, don't forget there's a free PDF on my website. It has the box template and all the measurements. If you need anything, let me know. Thanks a lot. Bye.